So I came to the printer this morning and I noticed there was a strange piece missing out of one of the parts I was printing, and this corresponds directly to that. Maybe you can just see it, the little sort of lump in the middle of the FEP, and on the screen there is obviously a little bit of resin as well. So I'm guessing there's a hole in there. So thought it's worth checking just to see if it is. It's very tiny, but I just want to double check. So I'm just going to use a little drop of IPA. We'll just pop it over where the hole is, and we'll see if it's soaked through. And you can see it does. So there's definitely a hole in the FEP, and it's, to be fair, it's been in there quite a while. It's going to be cloudy, so time for a change. Now I'm wearing gloves for this part because obviously, although I've cleaned out the vat as best I can, there is going to be resin in the corners and stuck underneath and so on. So for the moment I'm just going to leave my gloves on. Now this is the way that I do it. This is not a definitive guide. I've changed this 4 or 5 times perhaps in the last as many months because the printer's on a lot. But this is just the way I do it. So there are lots of videos. Again, this is just my method. It works for me every time, so I just want to share that. So the first thing we need to do is take the frame off. The frame actually holds the FEP in place, and this, as the frame is screwed into the vat, that creates the tension. So we get rid of these big screws. You will get in your kit with your Elegoo Mars or Mars Pro. You should get these Allen keys, the hex keys, Allen wrenches. You can use the bigger one first, the 2.5mm, under each of the screws. I try and loosen off just a little bit, just to relieve some of the tension, and then I'll go around again and loosen them off completely and just take them out. The first time you change your FEP, it's going to be a little bit daunting perhaps because it's a leap into the unknown. It's quite straightforward. Just have to follow a process. So be a bit mindful as you're doing it of what actually you're trying to achieve. Okay, so that's the frame out. Now we're going to just turn it over, as you see, and there's more screws on the other side. The undoing up the screws is the absolute worst part of this whole process. There are so many. It's a shame there's not a simpler way of doing it, but this is the way it is. You need as many screws to hold it in place, and there's no leaks and so on. So just pop all the screws out. I did cut a bit out because it gets a bit boring to watch someone just do all of those screws. And there's the FEP. You can see there's a hole in the middle, and it's going to be cloudy anyway. So we're going to take all of these parts away now. Just quickly give them a wash in some IPA, dry them off, then we'll come back in a sec. That's better. So without my gloves I can work much easier now. So you'll see on the frame that they are different, the two sides. So this side where you can see the bigger holes, and you've got they're tapered to take the screw heads. So that's the bottom at the moment, and then at the top we're going to have the smaller screw holes, and you can see where the screws fit into the tapers there. So if you grab your FEP, this is an Elegoo FEP. There are other brands available, I'm sure, but I've used these. Now this comes with a protective cover on the front and the back. You can take that off first, very important. And it's also very important that you throw them away straight away, or get them out of the way, because I've heard of people have by mistake put the wrong part, put the protective cover on rather than the FEP, throwing the FEP in the bin, which doesn't seem to work particularly well. Now if you watch any of the videos, they should tell you that there should be a spacer underneath, so it's just something to give it a bit of height, just so that the FEP isn't taut and there's a little bit of sort of play, and you can see that there. So these memory card cases, they're about 5mm high, so I've used 2 of them, and that should just create enough slack for the FEP, when we screw it down, to create the correct tension. So I'm just going to start by doing the 4 corners. Just pop the screw in. I'm not going to do them up fully tight, but just put them in and get them going. So you need with your blade or something sharp, just to pierce through where the screws are going to go, and then you can then the screw will just go through and catch on the other side. I'm not going to show all of these screws being put in. There are so many, and there's only so many things you can learn from watching somebody do up a screw, and I'm going to run out of things to say very quickly, so I'm going to fast forward in a little bit, and once I put all of those in, and we'll come back to you soon. That was quicker than I thought. So once they're all in, I'm just going to go around from one point to another all the way and tighten up every screw. I've already done most of them, that's the last few there. So that's now in, and the frame is tight, and you can see there is, if I get the light right, you see there is a bit of play in there. It's not taut, which we need. If it's tight now, you're never going to get it into the on the bottom of the vat. So we need to cut the excess off. We don't need that bit. Some videos show this done after the frame's in place. I don't think it makes any difference. I can't see that it would make any difference. If you know differently, then let me know in the comments below. This hasn't failed me in the last 5 times that I've changed the FEP, so I'm assuming it doesn't have a relevance when you sort of trim it up or not. Okay, so we need to get the frame back in place now. Doesn't matter what, it goes up anyway. It's not on top or the bottom as far as we're concerned. And then with the screws pointing down, you can see you've now got the holes there where our new screws, the bigger screws, the 2.5s, will fit in, and we just need to just to pierce the hole. So just a tiny hole in there. We'll go around and do them all. Now with this part, it's a little bit different. So what we're going to do, we don't want to do the screws in, you know, the first one there, the one next to it, and so on. We're going to go opposites, so that we apply a kind of even tension across the frame. So we're doing, see the bottom right there, and then we're going to do top right, and then we'll do bottom left. So we've got the 4 in place. I'm not doing them up fully tightly. They've just literally just caught just a little bit. If you do one up fully tight now, you're going to struggle getting the other side in the opposite one. Just tighten it down just a little tiny bit. There we go. That one didn't catch properly. It's in now. So we'll just do opposites as we go. Next one should be the middle one towards the left on the bottom. And then we need to go back round and in the same sequence tighten them down a bit further. I normally do it in a couple of passes, so I'll give it a couple of turns each one, and then go back round and do it again. So once they're all tight, I'm just going to give these a final little nip just to make sure they're fully done. Just make sure you go around it a few times, because as you tighten one, the next one to it can come a little bit looser, or will obviously the frame will go back in, recess in a bit more, and it will loosen things off. So just double check them, make sure they're all tight. Now the aim is to get these as tight as you can. Don't go mad, because you will strip the thread probably off of the vat rather than the screws. But the frame will sit in a recess. So if you look at it from the side, you'll see that it doesn't sort of protrude from the bottom of the vat. But do it as tight as you will feel when it there we go, when it reaches home. Final check, and then we're pretty much done. That's it. Now if you probably would have pinged the bottom of that and heard that it sounds like a drum. It should be taut. That's it, we're done. Pop it on back onto the printer. I've cleaned the screen now. Pop it into place. Pop some resin in, and we'll give it a test. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye for now.